Welcome, everybody. It's another good evening. It's Wednesday. So, I like to say it, Mike, 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 Mike. So, if you know about Mike, you know about the camel. And I won't get any further into it because we do like to keep it, it's a dad joke. You gotta do your homework. So, I have David, my great co host, my great buddy right here. And I have a good buddy. So, John, would you like to introduce yourself to everybody here? And I really appreciate you coming on tonight.
Uh, Thank you. My name is John Lajoie. I've been a 49er fan since 1985 to 86. Um, my, my the reason why I became a Niner fan was because my uncle was scouted by the San Francisco 49ers,
Ooh,
and he didn't get into the NFL because of his back issues and that type of stuff. So, um, but I've been a 49er fan since that time. Uh, few of my favorite players are Steve Young, Ricky Waters, Jerry Rice, um, and those guys, Steve Young, Joe Montana, legends.
Awesome. So, okay, so I'm imagining, you're just about my age, and
Hmm.
we've seen we know of the Joe Montana. We were probably around in diapers
Yep.
that time. David's a little bit bigger than me, so he's probably, out of the diapers, but he's not far along, right? So we've seen Joe come and go. We've seen Steve
Yep.
come. We've seen Jeff Garcia. I don't like saying limitations or anything, but the decline of Steve kind of, turned the tables for our team.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
oh man, then we got, Alex Smith. And let's start right
Hmm.
there. What's your thoughts on Alex Smith and the Alex Smith era?
When we drafted him, it was a nerve wracking feeling because you know how first time quarterbacks in the NFL, especially rookies, you just don't know what they can do.
I was all in on with Alex, but then when he came in and he got hurt, and I believe it was his first time getting hurt, like to start, and it was his throwing shoulder. I'm just kind of just like cringing, and then from there, it didn't facilitate. He had too many head coaches, too many offensive coordinators year after year. When you say, okay, I got a really good playbook, but like for example, Kyle Shanahan's playbook takes how many years to like become proficient at, become where you're like, I know, right? So
Hmm.
when Alex Smith comes in and he could be as smart as the guy, any guy, right? He could just be that guy. But when you have to learn, I want to say 7 playbooks in 8 years, that's really hard to just get underneath and be like, and then it's hard because when you do master injury, being injured, being injured is probably the worst thing for a football player because it's what happens, David. If you're not on the field, what happens?
your job gets taken.
Your job gets taken.
Hmm.
So
Yep.
if you're not healthy, it's that's right. You're not healthy. We can't use you. It's not that we don't like you, but it's like we need you to move over. It's the next man available, right? So Alex, I don't feel like got the best situation in the Niners, and I think when we did get finally a good quarterback, a good coach, a good squad, a defense behind him, we went to the next thing that was relevant. So, what's your thoughts on Kaepernick?
Pros and cons. He was all right to certain seasons, and then he went the way that he went out. So it was a love hate relationship, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I like seeing him score. I like seeing the electricity and stuff like that. But when he
Hmm.
could throw the ball, he could throw the ball almost out of the stadium, right? But he just didn't have that
Yeah.
I don't know, touch on it. And for something, it just seemed like it didn't seem like he was going to be our long term answer. Even though everybody was trying to hype him up, it was just I don't know. It never seemed like he became the face of the franchise. Would you agree with that, David?
Kaepernick never really was the face of the franchise. It was always like Patrick Willis or, Justin Smith, for example, back then. We didn't really Frank Gore actually at that point in time. It was
Yep.
Frank Gore. Let's be honest here. But we haven't had a face of the franchise quarterback since, Steve Young. I think Jeff Garcia could qualify, but T.O. was really, blocking his spotlight, with a big old flag or something. That's just how it was, though.
What's your thoughts on the TO? We'll backtrack just a second, John. What's your thoughts on the TO and the Jeff Garcia feud?
Uh, it's just sometimes you got good blood, sometimes you got bad blood against each other. Sometimes you just got to work things out sometimes. And
Yeah.
if you can't be teammates, everybody gets traded.
I'm a little
That's
upset
true.
with Tio. I am definitely a little upset because the way it went down is he said, I want a different quarterback. I want a different quarterback. So he rallied for Tim Rattay. He got Tim Rattay to start for him. He wanted Garcia gone. He got Garcia, to be traded off or let go,
Mm-hmm.
and he was supposed to still be signed to the team, and he ended up going and getting traded. Well, he wanted to be traded to the Eagles, and when the Niners heard, you don't want to be on the team, we tried to let him go to the Ravens. He went to the Players Association and said, I don't want to go there. We ended up getting, like, I think a fifth out of it from the Eagles and the Ravens through the whole situation. He got to go to the team he wanted to, but I kind of feel like just wasn't right because you wanted a quarterback, you got the quarterback you wanted, and then you left the team. And it's really funny because like Eric Erickson, I think that's the name of the coach that we had at the time. He went 2-3, I think. No, not 2-3. It was 2003. He had the team, or 2002. He had the team. That was the last year we went to the playoffs. 2003,
Yeah.
we had a bad season, and he really, that's the season that Owens left, and it's just kind of like he said it too. He really wished that we would have had another year together because with that power, that offense that he had, he really thought we had something. So with Tio, I mean, I know he's an offensive weapon, but it's just like if you would have given it a little bit of time, you might have got somebody like Aaron Rodgers or somebody like that to be on your team. So, David, I think I just had like a revolution, a total dream. If we would have like still went 2-4, 2004, and still got the number one pick, do you think that could have facilitated? Could we have gotten Rodgers and Tio a combination?
I honestly don't think so because T.O. had done burned the 49er bridge, the rope bridge at that point. He was heading out of town. He made it clear he didn't want to play there anymore, and it was like, and honestly, our organization was in dysfunction at that point, big time. The Yorks were pretty much business people trying to run a sports franchise and didn't know what they were doing yet. You know, at this point, it's kind of like Jed Yorks just steps back, occasionally grabs the headline, but which we got a little something to talk about for a second, but and then he just lets John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan run the team, which is how it should be. That's exactly what Eddie D used to do. He hired good people, he let them do their job, and he straight told them, if you don't get it done, I will fire you. I mean, that's what he did, and he has 5 rings. So, you know.
That's a good point. It really is, and I want you to weigh on it too, John. The
All right.
whole To situation, like he really did burn the bridge in the locker room,
Mhm.
and I think this is kind of it's the reason for the dark days. And my little dream of getting Aaron Rodgers and have been really a deadly combination, but that's a what if, could have, right? But you look at the whole situation with To, you're calling your starting quarterback gay. This is 20 years ago. This isn't a cool term to be
Yeah.
calling somebody. This is never a cool term to call anybody.
No.
Jeff Garcia went out and got a Playboy bunny to prove to everybody in the locker room that he is not gay. Okay, and hey, shout out to him, but I don't think you have to do that to prove your manhood. But To, his mouth on him in the locker room, and I know everybody loves To because of his, accolades and him being. I've met him like 4 times. I tell you what, I'd meet him again if I could. Okay, but I think he really, really hurt our team. So, moving on, we went from, Jeff Garcia and To. We talked a little
Mhm.
bit about the Alex Smith and Kaepernick. Now let's move on to a little bit more of like the Jimmy G. We moved off of Kaepernick. We can talk about it. We don't need to talk about his political movement or whatever. Kyle
Yeah.
Shanahan decided he didn't want to stay with Kaepernick, so we move on to Jimmy G, right? But not right away
Mhm.
because it's a brand new regime and they don't go and get the quarterback exactly who they wanted right away, but they settled Brian Hoyer, the destroyer. I say it with confidence because I think the guy could have came out and really balled. I reference a lot like the Rams game and the Niner game where it was like 39-43 or something crazy like that. It was blue, it was yellow uniforms against black uniforms. If you guys go back and watch, and the Niners caught fire. We had Pierre Garcon, and it was just really fire. But he got scared out there or something. Maybe it was the offensive line who stopped, blocking for him. But there was a moment in the game, and it wasn't that game, but there was a moment in the season. And I think David, you can tell us who did he throw the ball to? You remember who Brian threw the ball to? He threw it to our coach, and he's a good wide receiver, but he wasn't expected to catch that pass in the game, on the sidelines. And I think that's what ultimately got him benched. So, Brian comes out, CJ starts for a couple of games, like 8 games, well, 5 games or something like that. He has a pretty good deep pass, but we finally trade for a quarterback, and maybe we shouldn't have traded for Tom Brady. There was some kind of feud going on with Tom Brady and Jimmy Garoppolo, and they didn't seem to want to release him right away. So you go ahead and you're like, okay. And John Lynch trying to be the guy that and the man, right? His first year being a GM, we get Jimmy Garoppolo, and from there, I want you to tell us what your thoughts are. He ran off with five games, and I know he got hurt from there, but what's your thoughts on Jimmy G?
Jimmy G was good a couple times, but when it came to the big show, he had a rough time. And him being Spacey, Brady's number two, it's like, what can you learn from it? Because Tom Brady used to, uh, they had to deflate the balls. So you're learning something bad at the same time sometimes. There's good qualities and there's bad qualities on certain players.
That's a good point because Tom Brady has a lot of like clout that goes around him. There's a lot of moments in NFL history. He might have a lot of Super Bowl rings, but the Raiders said it, and David, I think you know this too. If you ain't cheated, you ain't trying, right? If you ain't trying, you ain't winning, right? And we're not Raider fans, we're Niner fans, but oh boy, the Patriots, the Cheatriots, I like to call them, right? And there's no shots there. It's kind of true. The Deflate Gate, and there's the Spy Gate, and there's all kinds of other
Mm-hmm.
gates, and there'll be multiple gates coming out after after seasons. From when Tom Brady gets into the Hall of Fame, there will be still gates coming out. So yeah, Tom Brady's not the biggest fan in my house. My dad's a Raider fan. The Snow Bowl, the Tuck Rule, I can't look at him and think of him as a Super Bowl champion like that. And then I'm a big kicker fan, and I know a lot of people take shots at kickers, but Tom Brady, how many Super Bowls has he needed a kicker to win? So I don't know. Joe Montana just didn't seem to have that issue. All right, so we're moving past Jimmy. Now we have Trey Lance. He gets hurt right away, and that's sad. Jimmy G comes back in because he wasn't necessarily signed or kicked off the team because of his contract. Brock Purdy comes in and shoots off a bunch of games, and we're like, wow, we might actually have like a fairy tale ending here. And then he gets hurt, and now we're back to kind of like square one. But now we have two new quarterbacks, Sam Darnold, Brandon Allen. Trey Lance seems to be doing really, really good, like we all hoped for. And now we have Brock back, and we're not sure what exactly his health or his limitations are. We know Trey Lance has a very high ceiling. So, what's your thoughts on the upcoming preseason game? I don't think Brock's going to play. I think Trey Lance has a big opportunity, and then Sam Darnold. I'm thinking maybe Brandon Allen plays maybe the third or fourth quarter. What's your thoughts on the quarterbacks, and what are you looking forward to seeing against the Raiders?
Well, with the quarterback room that we have right now, best quarterback is going to play anyway. So they're going to have a little showdown themselves. And basically, the best quarterback is going to play. Yes, Trey Lance had a rough game when he was playing against the Chicago Bears in the Mud Bowl, basically. So he didn't really shine that well, but there was some quirks in that game for him because he just didn't know what to expect in the weather. And with Brock Purdy, when we got him coming in, it was like mouth drop and basically sitting there waiting for a rookie quarterback because usually most rookie quarterbacks do not do well. And he just came out and basically wowed everybody.
Yes, he took it by storm.
Mm-hmm.
And I was actually saying for about the past year and a half during the whole James Richard Garoppolo. I can't call him Jimmy. James Richard Garoppolo saga that we just need a guy that's a step up from him.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. If we had a guy that was a little better than him, then we could get there. And all of a sudden, here come Brock Purdy, and he's a little better than James. And I mean, like
Yep.
pocket awareness. When he was progressing through his reads, James was progressing through them too fast because he was trying to get that ball out of his hands because he had emotional damage from so many injuries.
Mm-hmm.
They do have sports psychologists, and James, if you're watching, go see one.
Very
Yeah,
true.
David, wow. I mean, like, you just dropped it because it's like, it's not that Jimmy wasn't good. It's not that he couldn't read through his progressions. He went through them too fast. And then he was like, okay, and then gets stuck on a wide receiver. And I don't know how fast Purdy's going through them, and maybe he's going through them again. He's just cycling, but whatever he's doing, Purdy's seeing the guy that's open and he's exploiting it. It might not be the biggest pass, but it's the open pass that's getting chunk yards. And at the end of the day, what's the West Coast offense really about, David?
Yards after the catch.
Boom.
Yep.
We're not Pittsburgh. We're not Dallas. We don't throw Hail Marys all the time. We throw slants, and our guys take off, and they bust your tackle, and you look goofy laying on the ground, and we're scoring a 6. 6 points right there, and then we're coming up, and you got another point coming on the board because what happened? You're still trying to recover from being on the ground. Why? Because we've always done that. We've always been that way, and now I know a lot of people don't like the yards after the catch necessarily. They want to see explosive offense. That's why we did go and draft somebody like Trey Lance. So with Trey Lance, coming out there and being able to perform and do what he's going to be able to do, I really like to get his thoughts. I really want to get your thoughts. What do you think? Should we get to see him in the first 4 games? Would you like to see him, like come in when he's needed? Is Brock your starter or, what's your thoughts, John?
Um, Basically, we're definitely going to see probably Trey Lance playing in the preseasons. But as a starter, it's still iffy because he's not really that seasoned yet. It does take a while for some quarterbacks, like basically, like basically, like Dan Marino. It took
Mm-hmm.
him a while, but he got the job and that type of stuff. But it's just a work in progress. basically, if anybody played high school football, it's just repeat, 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 and work hard. And it's going to be whoever wants to work hard for that position gets to play.
I see what you're saying, and I agree because I think it's like you're gonna whoever's going to be the quarterback's going to listen to Kyle, and the only time I think they're really going to really cut loose and ad lib is when they totally feel broken down and they have no other choice.
Mm-hmm.
I think this team's kind of really like shackled a little bit by Kyle in a sense. Kyle does ultimately hold the controller in his hand, I think. And I don't really see him being comfortable with just any other quarterback just yet. I think he feels comfortable with Brock because he knows what he's got with
Yes.
Brock. But I don't think he wants to give Sam or Trey away just yet because he sees that they have that, you hit the button XX twice and the next thing you know, that ball's sailing down the field. So,
Oh yeah,
what
because you always want to have like a good quarterback room to be able to, in case if one quarterback goes down again, we have the next backup. That's the next great quarterback, and so on.
So, how many? Before I throw it to David, because I know David's got some questions for you too. How many
Mm-hmm.
quarterbacks do you think we keep on the starting roster? I kind of feel either way, even if we don't keep a fourth guy for the practice squad, I still feel we keep so many. I personally think we keep three, and then we do go get a practice squad guy if somebody gets swooped up. So how many guys do
Yeah,
you think we keep in on the practice on the 49ers squad for quarterbacks?
I would say basically Brock Purdy, Trey Lance, and Sam Darnold as our starting quarterbacks that get to dress down. Uh, Brandon will probably be our practice quarterback that they use in the practice squads.
Do you think, before I pass it to David, do you think we can somehow save Brandon Allen onto the practice squad, or do you think he'll get snatched by another team?
We'll probably keep him on the practice squad because we
Two
do,
players.
in case if we got, in case we got to bring him up, like what happened to when we had to bring Josh Johnson in. That was a nervous wreck, anyway.
Oh, most definitely. I don't want to see Josh Johnson again. So you definitely feel that Brandon Allen would clear waivers.
Probably, yeah.
All right, David, how are you doing tonight? What's your thoughts? What questions do you have for John as well? And man, are you excited about the Raiders coming up?
It's the preseason. Um, the thing I'm most excited about is watching all the guys that are really trying to make the roster, put forth that effort. That's the funnest part about preseason, in my opinion. And when it comes to the faders, it always seems like we play them during the preseason. Maybe, well, I mean, we don't play them all the time, but whenever we do, there's always that Bay Area rivalry. Even if they've changed cities, whatever, they're on city number 3. I don't know how many times they moved. You know,
Almost 54 if you count, right? They leave Oakland. Well, they played in San Francisco. Let's be honest. They played in San
Mhm.
Francisco. Then they went to Oakland. They were always the Oakland Raiders, but then they went to LA, right? They come back to Oakland. Then they leave Oakland and go to Las Vegas. So I don't know. Like roll the dice. I don't know. What do you say?
but so what era did you join the Niner Empire there, John?
1985 to 1986.
That's like right after I did. I'm 46
Mhm.
myself. But but yeah, that was the golden era, Eddie DeBartolo, Bill Walsh, Joe
Yeah.
Montana, Jerry Rice, John Taylor, Brent Jones. It just keeps going and going. You know, Before the salary cap happened and Eddie DeBartolo, he had money and he wasn't afraid to spend it. He's
Yep.
the reason the NFL has a salary cap, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
But
Yeah, there was a little bit of maybe mob influence. There was a little bit of some gambling going on, and the NFL smacked him pretty hard. And maybe they should smack some other people too. But Eddie was the poster boy. Sometimes the ones who shine brighter burn out faster, right? But we got 5 Super Bowls with Eddie, and he's still around. He's still there smiling. But now we got the Yorks. And what's your thoughts, John, on this year's aspirations? Where do you see us finishing with a pre-season prediction? And are we Super Bowl favorites? What's your thoughts?
For our division, I would say we're the top ones. Then it will be going to Seattle. But the last two spots, it's going to be with the Rams and the Cardinals. I think they're both going to have almost the same stats anyway, because I don't see them improving that quickly, especially the Rams when, yeah, other podcasters that I'm into, their guys say, yeah, we're going to have the great year and that type of stuff. Nah, you're going to have to work at it and get the right guys to play.
So I gotta pause everybody real quick. Shout out to everybody in the chat. We don't try to ignore you, but we try to really dedicate the show to the guest. And we always like the support. If you ask questions, please ask questions. But like if we can ever get you on the show from the chat, we really want to get as much time out of you. But John, David, I was watching last night. I turned on YouTube and I was like, what do I want to watch? And I turned on the first 49ers Super Bowl. And it was like the cut down version. It was like 40 minutes. And it was a lot of fun. We watched the Niners versus the Bengals. And I learned a couple things. First, we went into the half with like 20 points up. We almost lost the game. Does that sound familiar to anybody? So then the
Yeah.
next thing I thought was really interesting is we kicked the ball with one of my favorite kickers of all time, Ray Wershing. And did he kick the ball up into the air? The one I'm talking about, he kicked the ball and it was a squib kick. It went past almost everybody. It hit the guy in the back. He fumbled the ball, and the Niners come up with the ball. It's almost like the ultimate onside kick. The Niners got the ball in the red zone right after scoring the touchdown. I'm like, whoa. Like, I know Pat McAfee's done this. I know there's been like the Saints in the Super Bowl. They did this. And I'm like, hey, where did they get this from? Because technically it wasn't an onside kick, but we put that ball on the ground and we kicked it at somebody like almost like prison ball or, a dodgeball. And the guy didn't catch it. And that ball's live, so I definitely would like to get your thought, John. I know you're probably more my age, where we've seen
Yeah.
probably San Diego Super Bowl, we've seen the Ravens Super Bowl, we've seen the Chiefs Super Bowl. So how does it feel to you being a fan? What would it mean to you? I know you got some babies. You got some sons, I believe, and I have baby
Mhm.
girls. I got a new boy, and for me to be able to, the first game after my baby girl, my firstborn was born, we're in the hospital watching the Dallas Cowboys, and we beat the Dallas Cowboys. I'm standing there, Sunday, holding my girl, and I got tears coming out because I am like super happy. I got to watch a game with somebody, my offspring, and we just won.
Yeah.
The favorite things that like family, God, and football. I'll
Mhm.
throw Black Man in there, but those are my favorite things, right? Not in any particular order, but God and family, of course, right? So
Oh, yeah.
you look at it, and I'm like, again, we've seen 3 Super Bowls, John. What would it mean to you for the 49ers to be able to host a Lombardi? What would it mean for you to be able to share that moment with your children?
Oh, it's going to be fun. Because when we was in the preseason last year, uh, one of the things I did for both my kids, I did like a spread, like hot wings and little franks and that type of stuff, and we made a big celebration out of it when we were playing, and that's going to be super fun to do it again in the Super Bowl, especially when we're the Super Bowl this year. It's going to be in Las Vegas Raiders Stadium. Why not take the Super Bowl away from them?
I can't agree more. I really can't agree more. It's almost like, we have Levi South. We like to
Hmm.
think we have Levi's North in Seattle. They can argue that, but we go and eat some turkey dinner on their field this year. I think we can dedicate that
Yeah.
Levi's North, right? And then if we
Yep.
can go over there and get what Levi's East in Las Vegas, I mean, it's going to be coast to coast, right?
Yep. And we definitely need to beat the Eagles too, big time. Especially when they went after our quarterback.
Backs, they got them both.
Hmm.
So, and
But we did
I
take.
thought the NFL was trying to get away from that myself.
Same here. But at least we took Hardgrave away from the Eagles.
Hmm.
So who do you think's our biggest opponent in the NFC?
um, NFC, I would say probably. Uh,
Eagles have lost some
the,
players.
yeah, I would not think we will have a hard time going against the Eagles, but it's going to be a nice, good fight. Same with the Ravens, and same with the basically the Steelers. But I think we come out in the win on that one.
Okay. So you want to get down to your season predictions then, because I kind of feel you too. I'm not excited to be playing in the Steelers week 1 in their stadium. So I'm going to throw my number out. I can put the overlay on. I think I still have the season prediction. We'll get you a run through it real quick. I'll have David ask you
Okay.
the stuff, and then just let us know. If it doesn't, nothing's on record. Nobody's writing receipts. Well, actually, I have my little notebook right here, but we won't be talking about.
Technically, and plus we're live too, so that's a recording.
But I'm pretty big. I think we're going 15-2. I think we have to be careful with Pittsburgh, and we have to be careful with Baltimore. And I believe David's
Yeah.
going 15-3, 13-4. Depends on like we'll just say it, Moody.
Yeah,
So
since he did kick a 60-yard field goal in practice a couple of days ago.
2.
Oh, two? Oh, I missed that
And
one.
and I'm not sure, but I think one that was a little further in actually went out of the stadium.
Oh man.
So he's
Oh,
got all the
nice.
leg. Yep, he's got all the leg. Yep.
All right, so folks, if you want to stick with us, we won't take too long, but we're going to put the schedule over so everybody can see what we're talking about. If you haven't wrote down the schedule, this would be a good time because we'll probably be on it for just a minute. So if you like these spaces here, don't leave. But we're going to put this over and we're going to David, go ahead and ask John, and I'll be right here as well. But go ahead and have John break down the season for us.
All right, John.
All right.
So week
Okay.
1 at Pittsburgh. Are we winning this game?
We probably will win that game, but it's going to be a close win on that one.
All right. Week 2 at Levi's Inglewood against our little brothers, the Rams. Who do you got?
AKA lamb chops. We should smoke them because they only have 3 basic super guys that they have, and they might have picked some new guys up, but I don't think we're going to see them be basically winning against us.
All right. So here we go, though. Our home opener Thursday night against the Giants. Who do you got?
I got definitely San Francisco winning that game. Probably by 7 points, if not more.
All right. I have to agree there. But now we got another home game against the Cardinals.
Oh, the baby Cardinals.
Yeah, they're
that's
rebuilding.
definitely going to be basically a win for us.
I call them the red chickens myself, but you know. And then here we go. We got the Dallas Cowboys coming to town.
Ooh, the Dallas Cowgirls. I would say we win because Dak likes to throw good interception because he did a few interceptions during his practice against his own team.
He actually threw 15 and 12 games last year, and he made a promise that he's not going double digits in interceptions this next season, but we'll see if he keeps that, right?
Honestly, I got a funny
Now,
feeling he will.
but the next week we're heading back east to Cleveland. We're going to face the Browns, the team that should have a poo emoji as their mascot. Who do you got?
I got the Niners on that victory.
All right. Now we're probably going to stay back there because that's just what we do. And
Yeah.
we're going to head north to Minnesota to face Kirk Cousins on Monday night prime time.
Yep. I got the Niners winning that game. Kirk Cousins does have a bad time going against our defense. Their offense, the defense has our defense can keep him basically pinned down, especially with the new weapons that we got, and our offense we basically are electrifying.
Yep. Yeah, Kirk Cousins in prime time, he kind of stinks too. So, that's just from history. But
Yep.
this next week, I got to shout out Chris Collinsworth and his emotional damage from his 2 Super Bowl losses to us. Where we got Cincinnati Bengals coming to San Francisco.
That is going to be a good game. Cincinnati does have a good offense and defense, but I can see us coming out with the win because what basically George Kittle has said that the Niners have the biggest heart.
I honestly think this is going to be a really tough game.
Oh yeah,
But
I can see it happening too.
A lot of people say that Cincinnati's defense took a step back. They kind of swapped some players here and there and got younger. I don't know if they did or didn't. Well, by then we'll know how good they are.
Yeah.
But next week we go all the way to Florida and to face the man with the best hair in the league, Trevor Lawrence. So who do you got? Us at Jacksonville.
I got us playing against the guy with the greatest hair. It just reminds me of like a Barbie doll, basically a Ken.
All right, and then we go all the way back to San Francisco, and we are facing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with either Baker Mayfield or Kyle Trask, or they might go to Kyle Trask by this point, but we'll see.
Yeah, I got us because we did beat them when they did have the GOAT.
Yes.
Especially when Brock Purdy was playing. We beat them, and we just kept it going.
Yeah, we absolutely destroyed them last season. It was
sad.
It was the first, believe it or not, that was the first rookie QB to ever beat Tom Brady. So,
yep.
And then now here we go. We got the Thanksgiving game at Seattle. Of course, it's on Thursday. That's Thanksgiving. But at Seattle, someone's going to be eating turkey. Who's it going to be?
I would hope it's us because when you live in Washington like I do, when the Seahawks lose the game, the whole city is quiet. And that's the way I like to hear it. But I got us beating Seattle.
I love it, John. Yes, when Seattle is losing that stadium, that 12th man, the noise up there in the north is not heard. Go ahead, John.
It's bad,
Dave.
but you should try all the cities around basically this around the stadium because I live in Auburn, Washington,
All
Oh
right.
and
wow!
it
Oh
gets
wow!
and it goes pretty far because you hear fireworks going off at all the time during football games, everything.
Oh wow! Yeah, I got family up in the state of Washington. They're all from the I-5, from Woodland all the way up to Tacoma. So
Okay,
they're all pretty much in the western part.
basically I'm above them. I'm closer to basically the stadium. It's only takes would take me basically 3 to 3.5 hours to get there.
Okay.
Oh
My
wow!
grandmother, she lived in Washington and she lived in Chehalis. And Chehalis and Centralia. So that's where she lived. And um, yeah, really cool place. Big joke. I think you know about this too. So if everybody wants to pause for a second, one of my favorite dad jokes. You know how the weather is up there, right, John? For Washington, you know it rains like 2 times a week, one time for 3 days and one time for 4 days.
Mm-hmm. Basically, it's basically bipolar.
It's always raining up there in Washington. I went up there one year for summer. I went for several summers, and the first summer I didn't bring a jacket. I will never forget to bring a jacket to Washington ever again.
Well, when it does get hot up here, you should hear a lot of the Washington people complain about how hot it is.
Man, appreciate everybody coming. John, man, I appreciate you coming as well. Let's go. I'll go ahead and throw it back to David. David, I jumped in because Washington. Once I found out you're from Washington, man, being a faithful. See, that's what's neat about this is you can be a faithful and live anywhere. I know people in
Yeah,
Australia,
and,
Wales.
and plus I was born in basically California, the north half of California, Eureka, California.
Okay, up there, the Emerald Triangle.
Yep.
Yeah. That's awesome. So, okay, David, I'm gonna give it back to David. Sorry, John. And David, go
It's
ahead and
okay.
get us back into the swing of the seasons, and I'll take the overlay off after that.
All right. So we just started bird season at this point. So we're hunting birds,
Yep.
and that was the game at Seattle. Now we go to Philadelphia. Who do you got?
Oh, that's. I'm hoping for us, but it's going to be a nice, good fought fight the whole way because the guys that they do probably still have is still good. They're going to still come at us with their defense. I'm hoping our offense has got way better, and I hope we do have a good tackle or guard for that side to basically keep them out of our zones.
And here we are. We just faced these guys on Thanksgiving. Here come the Sea Chickens to Santa Clara to face us at Levi's. Who do you got?
Well, they do get called a few other names too,
Oh yeah.
um, like the Sea Queens and that type of stuff. I know their defense has got better because of them getting their linebacker back, Bobby Wagner. They do have some decent weapons, but if we can do the same thing that we did to them last year, we should be able to basically hold them, especially with Ajir Brown, Tafunga, and the rest of the gang. Yeah, we should be able to keep them in check.
Now we go to the desert, to that stadium that's shaped up like a coiled snake, to the to play the Red Chickens.
That's definitely going to be a win because it's it's not fair. It's just like playing against like a Division 5 league against a Division 4 league.
All right. And now the next week we're back on prime time. It's a Monday night game versus the Baltimore Ravens.
That's going to be a iffy win because we know that they're good. They do have their quarterback, Odell Beckham, and a few other guys, but they have never. They're going to be a good fought team. But I think we may win it, we may lose it too.
So now we go travel back east again, and we're going to be facing the Washington Commanders, the team with the worst name in the NFL.
Yeah, they did hire basically Magic Johnson to be part owner now.
Yep.
I've been hearing rumors that they will probably change the name, but I ain't 100% sure because I don't think that it's going to basically matter. Whatever name they go by, they're still going to be. They might have a good defensive lineman, and they might have some fair weapons, but it's going to be like we have to see what they can do every year. But I definitely got a win on that one.
Yeah, their big question mark is Sam Howell. The rest of the team is pretty solid. You know, Ron Rivera is their coach. He's pretty good. I can't say he's great. I don't think he has any rings. You know, that's how I define greatness.
And
But
plus
yeah,
they do
you're
have
right about them changing
Young
their
on it.
name, though. You're right about that. The new owners, I believe, plan on changing it, and the fan favorite when they had the vote was the Red Wolves. But we'll see what they come up with. You know, as long as it don't sound like a USFL team, then you know. But now we're at week 18 back at Santa Clara, and we got our little brothers of the NFC West, the LA Rams.
Oh, that's got to be a stinker game right there because we have the better numbers and the Rams don't have the numbers on their side.
Well, at this point, if we win all the games you think, we're not going to need this game. You know?
Yeah.
So it's going to be the backups playing against the Rams, but I honestly believe our backups can beat those guys. So, you know.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so it sounds like we have a very favorable season and something that looks very fun to watch. Looking forward to it. And John, it sounds like we're going to the playoffs, if I'm correct, right?
Yep.
All right, so let's go ahead and pivot away from that for a second because it's just opinions. We could win or lose a couple games, but I really kind of feel strong how you're talking there too. So I got a couple little pictures real quick. We'll bring them up real quick, and then we'll get our faces back out there. So because it is, the Raiders coming up, I just wanted to bring up some really cool looking pictures. Being the Raiders and stuff, there's only so much you can do with the silver and black. And when you have a patch on your eye, it kind of shows like they already kind of told you once. But when you look at the Raiders jerseys and they got that silver on it, I kind of really like that. So I like this picture. And I also like Kittle. What's your thoughts on Kittle, John?
He is a showman. He likes to be basically the joker of the team, be the basically the biggest heart. He just likes to have fun, basically.
I agree. And being a big Batman fan, too, I like how you said Joker. If anybody doesn't know, Kittle actually has a Joker tattoo on him. So it's kind of really cool. He does like to goof around. He he definitely is a comedian, and I kind of feel like what you're saying, John. He's kind of like the heart of the team. Maybe
Yep.
maybe not the only person who brings energy, but he definitely is very
Oh, yeah.
enthusiastic. All right, so we'll bring this next picture up, and because we got to show the rivalry. It's always going to be faithful to the Bay. It's always going to be a Bay Area rivalry, and sure, this guy right here, I think that's McFloppy right there, McLinchy, whatever you'd like to call him. But I don't think he's there anymore. But you can still see that's the energy that should be coming this weekend. Oh man, good picture again. We got CMC. So, what's your thoughts on CMC, Mr. John?
Uh, Basically, we did once we did get CMC on our team because I've been following him for a while when he was on the Carolina Panthers. Um, he can run, he can pass, he can catch. He does a lot of different positions, and very surprising that we do have other guys that can do basically the same thing like him. Some are better, some are not. His brother can throw the ball better than he can, and his brother is going to be coming into the draft, I believe, this year.
I didn't know that. So you're telling me that CMC has a brother that plays
Yep,
quarterback?
yep.
Wow, David, did you know that?
I did. I did know that. Um,
Where
I
are you
can't
doing
tell
that?
you what school he goes to. I've never scouted the kid,
Oh man,
but as the college season goes on, I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on that situation.
I'm
And
super
plus,
super jealous now that I feel like I've been being held out on a little bit. John, tell us a little bit more if you know any more about CMC's brother.
um, he's basically like a clone of his brother. Basically, if you look at their whole family, they're just basically just like CNC's dad.
Ed McCaffrey.
Yeah.
Wow.
So basically, it's he basically taught his son how to play basic positions, and that's the way that they rolled. Basically, like Deion Sanders' son is becoming eligible to come in the draft this year too, and he's with basically the school in basically in Colorado, Buffaloes.
Wow, John, dude, we gotta get you on more often. All right, I'm gonna bring this other picture up real quick, and I just kind of like the intensity. This guy right here, Josh Jacobson, I think that's his name, right, David, number 28.
Yes, yes, it
John.
is.
Okay,
Yep.
he's having a holdout right now, and I don't know if he's gonna actually be on the team here soon, or if hopefully he'll get signed. But he's supposed to be like their number one weapon besides Devontae Adams. So. Yeah, I just kind of like how like we can see he's going down. The Niners are being physical. That might not be the necessarily best place to put your hands on someone's face or their helmet, or get a picture taken
Now,
of. But definitely, I just wanted to show the rivalry. And then this picture right here, I'm pretty sure David's gonna get a kick out of.
No.
Robbie Gould
Is
kicking a
that
field
when he
goal.
missed the game winner last year?
It could have been. I didn't want to write dirt in or anything, or exploit anything too much. But I gotta shout out Robbie Gold, and he's one of my favorites. But so what's your thoughts, real quick, John? What's your thoughts on the new kicker, Jake Moody? And I know we all are big fans of Robbie Gold, but it's time to move on, I guess. And they did say his agent when offered something, they pushed the receipt, the napkin over across the table, and the
Yeah.
Niners pulled it up, and they looked at it, and they're like, they didn't say we'll call you. They just right, and then the
Yep.
next thing we're getting a
Don't call us, we'll call you.
so.
um,
What's your thoughts?
on Jake Moody, I learned more listening to you when you were talking about Jake Moody, and when we draft him, I know you are excited for that one.
Just a little bit. Just a little.
Then once I started looking at his highlight films, it was like, whoa.
Yeah, he's got a big leg. So now if he can kick it, 50, 60 yards. When we get into the 50-yard line, it's not going to be so more like, oh my God, we're going to have to punt it, and they're going to get the ball on the 25. They're going to get the ball on the 20. It's going to be like a 30-yard field position. It's no. Now we have an opportunity to go kick the ball and actually have a good percentage of coming away with points, and then putting them on the 25, but with points on
Yep.
the so it's like it's very exciting to me. I played field goal kicker. I was a kicker in high school, so I can see where people make fun of you, and I can also see where you can be the hero at the end of the day. And for people who are mad at kickers, I just got to put my hands up and say, did the kicker steal your girl or something? What's going on? I mean, like, because at the end of the day, kickers are humans. They're people.
Hmm.
They matter. All right.
Yeah, I played football. Yeah, I played football in high school too, and I was a O line, D line, and linebacker.
That's what you played in high school?
Yep.
That's cool because you got that passion, and we can see it. You're knowledgeable about the game. You definitely have heart, and I think that's one of the things too that's missing sometimes in professional sports, because once they get paid, I'm not going to say everybody loses their heart, but I think sometimes they're looking for that next big payoff, that next contract or advertisement, and it doesn't happen to everybody. And sometimes injuries happen, but it just seems to be a little weird what happened with Debo last year. He wanted to get
Yep.
paid, and then he comes in a little bit overweight. So did you get paid and go eat, or what happened in the middle of this? So um,
Yep.
let me throw it to David and have him ask you a couple questions. And again, man, thank you so much for coming on. We are definitely going to bring you back on because you
All
know,
right.
you're a true faithful, and we can see it. And if anybody doesn't know John, please check him out. John's all over 49er Faithful chats, all over YouTube, on Facebook. I don't know if you have a Twitter, but
No, I
Twitter
don't.
Twitter's something fun if you don't get into people's arguments or their emotions. I like to say moody, their moods. But let me throw it
But
to Dave. Go ahead, John.
yeah.
Go ahead, John.
But if you look at some of the practice workouts when they do like the rookie hype modes, Jake Moody has a lot more fun.
Yeah, those highlights. I mean, some of those kicks where he's actually kicking it over the fence in practice. That's a that's a lot of fun to think about. How many fans are going to be coming home with a football this year? Because
Oh
he
yeah.
kicked me into the stands. All right, David. I know you got a couple questions before we get out of here. It's almost over an hour. We'll just go a couple more minutes. But David, what do you have for John? And John, again, I can't tell you more, but thank you so much for coming.
You're welcome.
All right. So I'm not sure if you've been paying attention to the news about coming out of camp. You know, like the whole
Hmm.
Elijah Mitchell injury. I don't know what we're going to do with him. But in your opinion, and this is just from, what you've read, maybe you've seen some videos, who is going to be the backup for CMC? Is it actually going to be Mitchell?
More than likely, probably not. I think it will probably be basically TDP mostly, or it's going to be a rookie running back or somebody else's. We did hire, we did sign a new running back a few days ago, if not today. Uh, he plays on he was Derrick Henry's backup guy.
Oh, okay. I saw that, and I don't know if he's just a camp body or if he's actually here to compete for a roster spot. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
same here. I don't know either.
we still we got the four guys from last year, currently
Yeah.
on the squad. And it kind of seems like every time, like last year, Trey Sermon. Oh,
Hmm.
he looks good. He looks good. He's doing good in camp. He got cut.
Yep.
So we really don't know what they're gonna do, And and another thing is, do you think Colton McKivitz at right tackle is going to be an issue?
I could see him doing basically. He got the size of basically being a good passer. It's just his. I'm not sure about his run blocks.
Yeah. And that was a big thing about McChoke. I mean, I was going to call him McChokeslam, but about
Yeah.
McGlinchey, and is his pass blocking just didn't he didn't get the job done. He more or less tried to get in their way, but he for his frame he didn't have enough weight to actually use for the technique he was trying to use.
Yeah.
So, and reports are before they put pads on, McKivitz was getting schooled, but then they put pads on and he became a different animal.
Yeah.
So, the O line battle is the thing I'm most interested in. Is
Oh yeah. Same
who's
here.
going to make it and who's going to be getting out of here. Type of thing. It's like, and of course the burning questions QB. I'm not going to ask because I'm still more worried about keeping the QB upright than I am who
Yeah.
it's going to
Same
be.
here.
You know, and there's quite a few people wanting to trade Mitchell.
Oh yeah.
I think the reason they want to trade Mitchell is because they seen we got him in the 6th round, and if we could get a 6th round pick out of him or a 5th round, they're almost they're not upset with him. But if we kind of touched on it earlier, if you can't stay healthy, then you can't play. If you can't play, what's better, being the best player on the team? But if you're not healthy to be on the team, then you're not reliable, right? So health is your best friend, right? I gotta say, at the end of the day, if we would have had a healthy quarterback, Josh Johnson, I know you touched on him earlier, but he had a concussion.
Hmm.
We tied the game with Josh Johnson. We were
Yeah.
still, we were still. You imagine if we would have been able to do a couple more things with Josh and got maybe the game tied one more time, or the defense would have been able to stop Jalen Hurd on the other side, or Hurts. I'm sorry. And I mean, if we would have had somebody on the other, oh my gosh, I think I don't know if the rules would have allowed it, but I think we would have definitely had another quarterback in the Super Bowl. I don't know if Josh would have been our guy, but Journeyman's been on 10, 11 different football teams. I think he should have been ready to play in the championship game. I really, really don't believe he was. If I ever get to meet you, I'd like to shake your hand, tell you thank you. But I tell you what, he definitely looked like he wasn't
Oh yeah.
upset. He wasn't upset that he was leaving the game. Let me, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I got ran over by a truck, and I know, that definitely hurts people in different ways. But the way he
Hmm.
went down and he smacked his head, I mean, Steve Young got concussed, and we've seen the way he went out. We've seen the way we've seen the way quarterbacks stand up and play. And then for like the new news reports, have you heard it? Brock Purdy's been supposedly playing the last couple games with a broken rib prior to going into the playoffs. So you're like, some people can play with pain. Some people can't. I don't know.
Um,
I'm not gonna say what your strengths or weaknesses are, but we need you to be on the field. That's the bottom
yes.
line.
Yeah.
Corey Davis asked a question earlier.
Okay.
John, who's your favorite 49ers player?
It would have to be Jesse, lineman.
Jesse Sapolo?
Yep.
He's actually been on a couple different streams lately. Like
Yep.
the people at East Coast Red and Gold, they had him on. I'm not sure if you
Yep.
watched that or not,
Oh yeah, I
but
watched that one.
yeah, he's great. He's great. He's one of my favorite linemen from that era. So I also like Steve Wallace, the guy with the double helmet.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm a big Steve Young fan. He's the guy who I started watching really football. He was my champion. I'm not sad to say it. I'm not afraid to say it. I truly cried when he got hurt. I knew what kind of happened when it happened. Then later on, my dad, he didn't like torment me with it, but it was one of those things. It was just there was all these jokes that was coming out, like Steve Young couldn't remember his name, and Steve Young who couldn't remember his uncle's name, and there was this old Dallas joke. It was a horrible joke, and it kind of started with Steve Young, and it was, "Hey Steve, what's your name? Huh? Steve, what's your name? Steve, do you know what your uncle's name is?" And then somehow it was Troy Aikman. And then the same question got thrown on the Cowboys. So because Troy Aikman got hurt too. So then they're asking
Mhm.
Troy Aikman, "Hey, Troy, what's your name?" He's, "Huh? What's your name?" And he's like, "Steve." He's like, "Steve who?" He's like, "Steve. Steve's my uncle." He's like, "Your monkey's an uncle?" And I mean, like, my dad kept saying this back and forth to me, and I'm like, "Stop," So I'm a big Steve Young fan, and if you guys know any of that, I mean, that joke is horrible. I don't want to ever remember it or relive it. But after that, it's kind of hard because I wanted to see Alex Smith do good, and he just never could live up to what Steve did when he got to the championship game. We won't say what happened against the Giants, but we know what happened. And then when he beat
Yep.
the Saints, oh my gosh, I was like, here we go. And well, I think the Saints was first, and then the Giants. But anyways, it just I started believing in Alex, and then here he got hurt, and I know it's kind of the same situation. Like Alex got hurt, Kaepernick started, Trey Lance got hurt, then someone else started, and now it's like, is it fair? Purdy got hurt. Should it be? I'm not gonna say should it be given to him, should it not be given to him. I'm gonna let that decide with the coaches. I just want a number. I want another Super Bowl. So, John, thank you so much for coming. David, you're my co-host as always. I really appreciate you. John, we need to get you on a morning show sometime. Get you around
Okay.
the other guys. Um, I feel like you got a lot of good energy, and we can always go on longer and longer. But it's been about an hour,
Oh
and we
yeah.
keep the shows to about an hour. I know you're a dad guy. I'm a dad guy. David's a retired dad guy, but you never are retired. So that's one thing. You never know when your daughter calls or might need to say hello to you. And David also has to. We got to go to work because you got to pay those bills. So
Yep.
appreciate to everybody for coming. Please smash the like. David and me both have channels. Check them out. John's going to be on both of them, and we really appreciate all the support. We've had between 17 and 13 people in here the whole show. And again, if you ever want to come on the show, just reach out to us. I see you, Eric. You just popped in. Reach out to us and let us know. But John, we'll be doing this again here real soon. So stay faithful,
All right.
everybody. Thank you for coming, and turn your notifications on because you never know when David or me will be going live. You don't know. It might be on David's channel next time. And with that,
Yep.
guys, we're going to be out. We'll see you next time. Go
Go
Niners.
Niners and F the
Go
land.
Niners.
All right, guys. Thank you. David, that was awesome. Thank you, everybody, for coming.